Hello and welcome to the Daily Conjecture Vlogcast. I hope you're all having a great day so far today. Today is Wednesday. Very excited for today, especially for my weekly content that I have going on right now on Wednesdays, which I started incorporated doing a couple weeks ago when I first started doing this series. And so technically, what I'm talking about is on the other series that I have. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it is the Lego unboxing and building. So looking forward to doing that after I do this video. It'll be the separate video on that other playlist that I have as well. So yeah, if you're interested to see that and have fun with me and hang out with me for that, make sure to click the link in the description below for that. Otherwise, if you're here now for this video or just listening in, welcome. I don't have a whole lot prepared for today's episode other than just sort of riding off accumulating everything that I've done so far and just kind of it basically now being 2 weeks in since my first video, even though I haven't actually put something every single day. There were a few days within the past few weeks that I did miss and didn't post anything. So yeah, I thought it'd be a good way to kind of reflect on everything that I've done so far, and just to see what all I can do to not only to improve, but just to keep this ball rolling and keep the content flowing. And as any of you who've been following along, of course, it's been very very laid back, very relaxed, and just even if some of the things I'm talking about in this series tend to be more serious. And more people oriented, how to succeed, how to set goals, how to manifest coming from a place of good intentions, good motivations, good goals, being healthy, and contributing to society, going out into the world and fulfilling your life goal, your life purpose. And just as I've talked about in previous videos, that can look different for everybody. Like, if you have a passion and you want to go for that, then that you might consider that to be your life purpose. And it might even just look like a chapter in your life. If your life is a book of chapters, multiple chapters, then it might just be a period of time. I mean, even my own mother, when she was posting and doing the content that she was doing, she did it for a period of time, and then once she felt like she got out everything that she wanted to say, called it quits, and as far as I know, hasn't continued on that content. So however many videos she did in total, that accumulated a certain amount of content, and then when she wanted to call it quits and move on to the next part of her life, that's what happened. That's how it played out. So especially me doing this content here is absolutely not only going to get me into the other things that I want to do for the other content ideas, other niches that I have in mind, but also just to see what results in this, what connections are made, if any, and then at the end of the day, if it really does just play out in that way of it just being my outlet, just so I can kind of talk, get things off my chest, get some ideas in the air, and then get as much feedback as possible. Again, for growth, for a goal of at least seeing what can play out within a year's time and how it will look at the end of the year. So, of course, a lot of this is, maybe I'm rambling a bit here and there. hopefully, at least most of the ideas that I'm talking about in the videos that I've been doing so far. Hopefully they're clear enough. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of necessarily education in terms of like incorporating actual like like any kind of psychological, sociological methods of thought, or school of thought necessarily. So, perhaps over time, I think I'd mentioned this in a video previously, or maybe some others that I've done, is as time goes on, as I kind of get better at this, get more acquainted with just the software and the video editing, and obviously there isn't really any editing going on other than just the quick little thumbnails that I've been making, which I'd like to absolutely get better at that too, especially if for any of those of you who've noticed, and I shared this with someone else as well, that the thumbnails that I've been making with the text on the screen are super low resolution pictures. It's me going in when you first go to upload the video, and then you go through the different steps here on YouTube before you publish it. On the very first page, is where you can pick the thumbnail. So basically, what I've just been doing is opening that photo, that small little photo. That's again, it's very low resolution, and then just opening it in a different link. But as you open it, the image in a new link. Or new tab, whatever, and you click on it, it's still that small picture. It doesn't like actually, it's not an enlarged picture. I'm not sure why that is. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to get actually like better quality pictures of the same freeze frames that I've been doing, and just adding text. So well, I suppose, for today's video, for today's discussion, the topic is being healthy. And again, I don't actually have any notes specifically prepared on just, some of the things I'd like to talk about and just being healthy. Going through my list of videos or list of ideas for that I haven't really covered yet, or at least the ones that I actually haven't already done. It doesn't look like I actually have anything specifically on actually being healthy. So that's good. That it works out good that way. That way, we can kind of just focus on that and see where it goes, and what all things we can talk about today. So, being healthy, what does that look like? What does it look like for your life? Are you physically healthy, mentally healthy, emotionally? Are you tending to those different areas of your life, right? And I'm sure you can go and find what all areas of life and what are the different areas of the human life. So again, we have physically, maybe mentally and emotionally are like within the same category. I'm not sure. And then of course there's like a spirituality, that kind of thing, that element. And I suppose socially, just in our relations with others, are we do we have healthy relationships in one-on-one and that kind of thing, whatever, romantic relationships, our friendships, the relations we have with our family members. So I guess to start it off, again, just me speaking from my own experiences, I would say, maybe just starting with physical health. Something I was actually thinking about earlier is that I did smoke cigarettes for several years. I want to say probably between 6 and 7 years I smoked, from when I could legally buy them at the age of 18 here in the U.S. a good 6, 7 years. Whenever I want to say I had just turned 25, which that would have been 20. Yeah, so I guess it was 2019, and then I remember the beginning of, I want to say it was the beginning of 2020 when I ended up quitting. And the reason is because I felt like I was dying. As I was taking a drag one day, smoking a cigarette out in the back porch where I was at, my vision kind of blurred and went dark a little bit around the edges, and it lasted, for a good probably 10-15 seconds or so before my vision came back. It didn't feel like pain. It just felt like my soul was leaving my body, which is really weird. That's the only time I've ever felt like that. And so I basically just made the connection to smoking cigarettes, and I was like, I gotta stop. I'd attempted quitting for smaller periods like previously, prior to that, without having those feelings of dying, but that's my experience with that. I'm well aware that it could potentially have already kind of done some damage, or potentially just cause damage, maybe cause long-term damage. However, it affected my body, changed my body, again, for the long term. I've never felt anything like that since I quit, and so it's been for almost 5 years, I guess, since then. So haven't smoked. I think the last time I did smoke a cigarette was probably going out to California, when I went out there for the first and only time that I've been out to California, to see my sister and cousins out there, and just hanging out, having some beers, and a couple of them smoked, so I think I just would bum a cigarette off one of them as we're hanging out. So I believe that was the last time, and that was a good few years ago anyway. So, but and then of course, vaping, using the vapes, is considered a substitute, or at least had been, when they were first getting popular, and I still see people using vapes. Of course, you see the commercials about, that's metal in your lungs. You probably have seen that commercial, or that ad, I guess, with the potential risks of using vapes. I never personally got into vapes. I think I remember picking one up, or ended up getting one off of, I don't know, a friend or something. My sister, one of our friends that we hung out with around the time, again, years ago. And just never really clicked with me. I never got into it. And so basically around the time when I stopped smoking cigarettes, I just quit. I probably was still smoking weed at the time, still smoking marijuana, but which I do on and off nowadays, but nothing too heavily. Again, they say that any kind of smoking, inhaling, they're still gonna leave some residue, in your lungs, and can still potentially damage you. And then someone else I was talking to the other day about, we were talking about vocals, and how even smoking weed, smoking anything really is going to absolutely affect your voice, your vocals, your vocal cords, and then again, just it's gonna decrease your lung capacity, and could potentially sort of counteract and kind of hurt you in the long run, as you're trying to train your voice for singing, for performing vocals. So it's something I'm definitely mindful about. obviously nowadays, I mean, just talking about smoking weed is that you can get gummies, you can get concentrate, there are ways that you're not actually, you're still able to ingest it and get the effects of the THC without actually smoking. So I've tried, a few things here and there. They've seemed to be all okay. So potentially, try some other things here and there down the road. I keep seeing ads for one. I think it's called Mood. I'm not sure, but with with edibles and stuff. So otherwise, I'm not too worried about it. It's not that big of a deal. Since I've been here in the Midwest area of the country, since I moved out here from Michigan just last summer, it basically is going on a year. Pretty. I think July will be a year since I've been out here in the Midwest. So, and I've been enjoying it out here. But on being healthy, since I've been out here, I think it wasn't like I had still some of my stash left over from Michigan. I ended up, just kind of going through that, just here and there. Until when that ran out, I'd considered going down to one of the places here where you can buy recreational, and I was just like, I don't care that much. I'm working. I'm kind of trying to get myself together, get myself situated in this area, so I don't, really care that much about smoking. It's I can do with or without it. It's never. In more recent years, it's basically that's been my mentality toward it. Even when there was like easy access, it's it can still be just like every now and then thing or whatever. I can just make it that in my head and just sort of prioritize it from there and you couldn't really say that about anything. Anything that you're, that's a vice, that is, a temporary pleasure that, maybe you're, trying to convince yourself that it's not going to, really negatively affect you that much. You're convincing yourself that you're in control, that you're able to prioritize paying bills and putting food on the table over the alcohol, drugs, any other substance or anything like that. Anything that can potentially become an addiction if you're not careful, if you're not aware of it, then it will basically become a need for you. That's psychological. It's giving you emotional support, and it's making you more comfortable. It's making you feel safe, better, until you start seeing discrepancies. If you're becoming late on your bills, if you're struggling to put food on the table, provide for your family, your loved ones. If for those of you who have kids, have dependents, have immediate people that you need to take care of. So any of you who are experiencing that currently, struggling, or just have an experience like that, where you were able to prioritize, start cutting back on these substances, alcohol, or anything else. It could even be food. It can absolutely be comfort food. Sweets and snacks and things of that nature. Maybe you're spending a little bit too much on that and consuming too much of that, consuming too much sugar, caffeine, which I absolutely have a sweet tooth, and I actually just recently destroyed 2 bags, not in the same day, but I want to say it was like I had 2 bags of this really good caramel corn that I've been getting from. I like to go seeing what kind of deals are around different discounts and places. So I think it was Big Lots, and I ended up, because I'm on the rewards with them, I ended up seeing the email for a discount. for that brand of caramel corn that I like, and ended up going and grabbing a couple bags. I think it was like buy one get one half off, so they're like $3 a bag. So yeah, absolutely ended up destroying both those bags probably like within 2 days. Had one within the first day, and so that's not good. You can look on the back and like, whoa, see the serving size and the calories, the sodium, the sugars. Absolutely not. Do not recommend. I didn't get sick, but again, I don't recommend that you do that. So so I suppose, just being mindful about that. Finding, for those of you who maybe do struggle with that kind of thing, maybe substituting for healthier snack options. Again, absolutely speaking to myself at the same time as I'm saying these things and trying to help anyone else out there, but definitely something to be mindful about. And kind of just in general, like seeing what your eating habits are, because I think I'd mentioned it in a video that I've done already. Maybe it was the one I did with Sarah, the first and only guest that I've had on the show so far. But how I like to, as far as like when you're eating meals, and again, this probably, from what I understand, there is no one set in stone, like necessarily like eating schedule that every single person has to follow. It really just depends on what your routine is, what your daily routine is, your work routine. For me, because the only actual like on the clock in the system with the only job I have right now on paper is the part-time job that I'm doing on the weekends. It basically makes it so that throughout the week I kind of just have to plan to make, I try to plan to make the most of my time and go about my day while just sort of planning my day ahead in terms of like, okay, well, I know that if I want to have my meals 5 hours apart from each other, then I can have breakfast somewhere around 7 and have lunch somewhere around noon, and then have dinner somewhere around 5 o'clock, and then I just plan my day about kind of around that. Now, lately I actually haven't. I've really only been like recently I haven't been having breakfast every day. Like I might go out and have a coffee, just grab a coffee in the morning, especially if I'm waking up like later in the morning. If I'm waking up, closer to like 8 or 9 in the morning, then maybe I'll just go get a coffee and I'll just wait a few hours. I'll start actually like feeling pretty hungry, and then have lunch at noon and so on. So, which is more or less what happened today. And I was able to go on and get this room that I'm in right now reserved here at this is the library that I'm at, and having the library be super close to where I'm at right now is actually super beneficial. That way I can just basically just come up here. They're closed on Sunday and Monday, but so basically those days I plan to make my way over to a Starbucks, Panera Bread, any of those kind of places, any of those kind of coffee shops that have internet. I can go grab a coffee or grab a tea, something like that, and then just hang out for a few hours to use the internet and charge my devices. Speaking of which, this battery pack right here, it's the Balco. I'm not sure like exactly what model or anything it is, but this was given to me as a gift by someone who I was staying with, and one Christmas ended up getting this as a gift. Stephanie was her name. So if you end up watching this video, thanks again for the battery pack. I've absolutely been using this basically right here. I'm trying to remember. So here, this right here, you can see the lights here. It goes up to 4 charges, 4 notes right here. I can charge my phone, not like from full, because I never let my phone like get that low. But I think the lowest I remember was maybe like somewhere around like 30% battery on my phone. Ended up charging it to like 80, 90%, and I think it took like half. So like it was fully charged, and I went to charge it, and it only took a couple hours, and ended up, if that, it might have even only been like an hour and a half, but it ended up charging it and ended up taking about half of this charge. But on here, there's if I can remember how, this right here is a light, so I think you hold it. Yep. So there's a light there. You can make it blink again, or blink a lot rapidly, and then I guess just hitting it again turns it off. So that's pretty cool. And you just hit the same power button right here. And then here are all the charge ports right here. I'm not sure why not sure what's with the lag there. Sorry about that. But here are the USB ports right here. You just put in your phone charger for that, and then you can charge your phone. And then next to it, you got a C and a B, or whichever one that is, if that's A or B, because that one's C. So whichever one that is, to charge this, just flip the same cord with the USB and just put it in the put the piece on it, and then just plug it into the wall and charge this bad boy up. And then these right here on the bottom are for charging a battery, like actually putting like jumper cables, hook it up to a battery to charge it. So pretty cool. Definitely comes in handy, especially on the times where I am, just in my van, and I haven't gone out to charge my phone. Starts getting low, and I can just plug this in to top it off. So, let's see. Being healthy. If for those of us who are more, I mean, that's absolutely one of the bigger elements, at least in this series so far, just in these discussions, these topics, that we've sort of covered a little bit of, and maybe just touch base on a little bit, but that is absolutely like the overlying theme, right? Is being healthy, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. That looks like different things for people. And then, socially, of course. So I did try like therapy once, and ended up canceling the subscription, and ended up kind of not just quitting basically. And I think, perhaps I could have done it for a longer period to try to get a little more results, instead of just kind of, trying to come to a conclusion about something with little, with not, very little time spent in it. So yeah, in terms of being healthy mentally, emotionally, it's very, like, you might come up with some ways to say, like, these are the things that I've been experiencing lately. These are the feelings I've been experiencing, or how are these things that are happening around me, these instances, these moments, these conflicts, potential conflicts, situations. How are they affecting me? How are they making me feel? Am I becoming overly upset? Is it something that I have control over? And in terms of kind of like in terms of, where those two realms meet, our mental and emotional health and our social health, with others around us. Just keeping, some things to keep in mind is like kind of how they say, like, you can't control others, you can only control yourself. And so that's definitely something good to keep in mind. And just kind of play things slow. Don't be too eager to jump into anything or to act, react, speak, respond in a quicker manner. You can absolutely thinking things through. Just breathing, right, and trying to build up a level of patience. With others, but also with yourself too. And then ultimately just, having that in mind of, or just think about the idea of coming from a place of love instead of coming from a place of hate. Which I think I've talked about a little bit here in one of the videos, some of the stuff that we've already covered, touched base on, but coming from a place of more positive energy, more loving kind of place, instead of a more negative kind of mindset, coming from a more negative energy and a more hateful place, right? Again, the big question, right? If I say it in every video so that everybody knows, are you being helpful or hurtful? Eventually, once I get into more actual video editing, which again, since it's been 2 weeks now, so if I go the next 2 weeks kind of just doing the same sort of content like this, then I'll be able to, hopefully actually get into some better editing. But I want to be able to like either put text on the screen like as I'm saying things, that way maybe it'll be off to one side. Or maybe it'll be like kind of like how you go into PowerPoint and you just put a slide up at a certain point in your video or presentation, something like that. Get into as well, but so yeah, just going about your life and having the best mental fortitude in your mental emotional health journey. What does that look like for you? So, and then I probably won't really get into the necessary like spiritual health kind of element for today's discussion, but because that could very well be like its very own like video down the road once I've kind of done some more research on that too. So. But social health, what do your relations with others look like? And again, just as I've already said, just being mindful of how you view others, how you view yourself, how confident are you in your communication skills, your social skills, and in getting your point across to others, sharing new ideas, or maybe giving someone a different perspective. Because it absolutely can work both ways, right? I think I'd said it in last video or another one, but just having in mind of like have a conversation, right? Have a discussion with someone that where you're getting that back and forth, you're getting that push and pull, the give and take of a really good conversation is amazing, is good because you don't have to know everything going into it, right? And and again, that depending on where you're coming from, are you coming from a place of like having that desire to learn, right? So if you are, then I think that absolutely is super beneficial, super helpful. It's going to help you, it's going to help them, and anybody, potentially others that are listening. So, and then at that point, it's like, you read the room, and timing is key, right? If not like if you want to have a conversation with someone but you're working or they're working. If you're like a customer or guest or something in an establishment, you want to have a conversation with somebody, but they're busy. It's not gonna be great. It's not gonna play out super well. So just being able to read the room, read the individual or individuals that you are wanting to engage with, and just try to figure that out. Make sure the timing it makes sense. You're not gonna there's not gonna be a lot of friction in you trying to engage with them. So all good things to think about. So yeah, I suppose that concludes today's video discussion. Thank you all for watching and listening. If there's anything else, if there's anything that you'd like to comment about, absolutely to comment below. What does a healthy life look like for you, or any kind of lessons that you've learned or in the past or recently, any experiences that you've had that have helped you in your journey in this journey that we call life. Thank you so much, and I will see you all in the next video.